want to learn stuff with you guys. Is that cool? So let's watch some videos for Get Smarter Saturday. If you haven't submitted a video, you can go to smashscene.com/Atrioc and submit a video, and then it'll get upvoted, and we can see the Get Smarter Saturday videos that we should watch are. Water wars, are they inevitable? Oh, that's kind of interesting.
But there's one resource that stands above the rest, one that has allowed the continued existence of life on Earth.
Atrioc. That is why everyone gets so obsessed over the chat bets. Let's do a bet right now. Mod, can we do a channel bet on, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. Is it between 1 and 5 or 5 and 10? Actually, you know what? Why don't I just think 1 or 2? It'll be easier. Damn, you guys are truly betting all in. And I've heard them say I'm a 1 kind of guy and a 2 kind of guy. 2. No, I lost everything. My life is over. As you can see from the chat, losing your Atrioc, devastating.
Over 70% of the Earth's surface is covered in water, but most of it is very salty. Humans require fresh water, which represents only 3% of the planet's total amount. Of that 3%, 2/3 are frozen in ice caps and glaciers, leaving just 1% of the water on Earth fit and available for human consumption.
Yikes!
If that sounds like a disaster waiting to happen, it's because it is. In this episode, we're going to discuss the consequences of our shrinking water supply and what we should expect in the coming decades.
Wait, why don't we just drink the ocean? Did I just solve it?
Initially constructed by the Aztecs, Mexico City was once located on a large lake. Over the years, the Spanish drained the lake to make room for more buildings, and today, the city is home to over 20 million people and an acute water crisis. Beginning in
That sucks when you drain the lake and then wonder why you have no water. How come we have seen this coming?
More and more cities are facing water shortages, and the brunt of the suffering disproportionately affects poor people.
I mean, I guess finally, a negative environmental impact affects poor people for once, because I feel like usually all the brunt falls on rich people.
According to an assessment by the UN, a full 2/3 of the world will live in water-scarce regions by 2025.
Jesus Christ,
which
that's
could
very
displace
soon.
as many as...
That's very soon! 2025? That's one, somebody goes to college freshman year, they come out and the world's in water-scarce regions. That's very
700 million people. And by 2040, most of the world won't have enough water to meet demand year-round.
Bro, I wonder if the world will get thirsty enough that they actually drink Aquafina. Nobody's gonna get that thirsty, right? Like, we're still gonna leave that shit on the shelf.
What factors are causing these problems, and can we avoid them? A big part of the problem is climate change. As global average temperature rises, regional weather can become erratic and unpredictable. As these weather trends continue, water reserves will dry up, and regions without the means to secure more water will face a serious problem. Growing necessary, region-appropriate crops is one thing, but we humans also have a tendency to demand food that is incredibly...
Bro, I've heard almond milk is a real big culprit here in California. I heard it takes like 8 gallons of water to grow 1 almond. Am I crazy? Haven't I heard that? Oat milk equals best. All right, well then don't worry about it then. Who cares? It could take 100 gallons per almond. As long as this guy gets his oat milk equals best.
For each kilogram of beef purchased by the consumer, we spend 15,400 liters of water. Per cow, that's 2.7 million liters.
Okay,
More
so
water than you'd find in an Olympic swimming pool. One comparatively easy way to conserve water.
It's 1 Olympic pool per cow?
Considering the average American's carbon footprint and level of consumption far exceeds the global average, we need to be willing to make some sacrifices.
Are they asking Americans not to eat burgers, though, every day of our lives? I got some bad news for the planet on this one.
The final factor that influences the availability of water is allocation of the handful of major freshwater sources around the world. The Colorado River provides water for 7 states, many large cities, including Los Angeles and Las Vegas, 5.5 million acres of farmland, and over 40 million people. It's currently in its 20th year of drought. If the drought continues, and at this point people are having to seriously consider whether this is simply the new normal, a large portion of the US will run out of their reliable water supply in a matter of years. While farming is critical, we do produce a lot of crops in desert regions to accommodate spoiled Americans wanting certain foods all throughout the year, which requires an enormous amount of water. All right,
let me be real here. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't all year round for some things. I cannot go without blueberries for 3 months a year. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It'd be kind of like a treat. It'd be like, oh, it's August. Now I get X food. Yeah, why don't we just take polar ice caps and drag them over to the farms? They're going to melt anyway because of global warming. They can melt onto the farm. It's a win-win. If that gets us 10 more years, whoo, we can forget about it for 9 of those years. And then in 10 years, we can watch a video like this saying the ice cube solution that Atrioc proposed back in 2021 is no longer available. We're slowly running out of polar ice caps to drag into our farms and melt. And then a different streamer, Tommy Innett's son, in 10 years, can make a new solution.
Especially in regions where a water source is shared by nations with less than friendly relations. I'm sure many of you heard the Vice President's recent statement about water.
And here's the other thing, because I also, I'm in a lot of meetings on foreign policy. For years and generations, wars have been fought over oil. In a short matter of time, they will be fought over water.
While it is striking to hear a politician admit that current wars are fought over oil and not to spread freedom and democracy like they so often claim, this is actually a 1995...
Let that one slip, huh? Did I say oil? Many of the wars we talk about oil, but the wars we talk about water unless we change the way we manage it. Dude, every quote about the future is always like, it's about to get real shitty unless we do X. And I'm like, we never do X. I think we all know we're never doing X. Whatever it is, we don't do it. So just cut it out of the quote. It's always like, we're at the precipice unless we make serious change. And that lets people be like, oh, well, I'm sure someone will make serious change.
The US is the most powerful country in the world by far. That fact has completely gone to our heads. And because of this, American leadership feels we have the right to invade other nations for literally any reason, or no reason at all. When we figured out we'd need more oil to maintain our dominance, the US invaded countries with large amounts of oil. The same will happen with water. We'll occupy countries where water conflict is starting to pop up. We'll claim we're...
Sorry, 1 second. Just quick check here. Interesting. Extremely interesting, actually. Sorry, I was just doing some light reading.
Then you've got individual billionaires like Bill Gates, who has finally gotten some recognition as the terrible person he is for trying to prevent free vaccine distribution in order to make even more money. The Gates family owns nearly 270,000 acres of land, most of it agricultural. If I were a betting man, I would assume that Bill's got some nefarious intent with the water rights.
I do know that Bill Gates is the single largest purchaser and owner of U.S. farmland, which is not what you'd expect, but it is true. He's been buying it up for like 10 years, massively. He just cares about the animals. He's just building his own Alveus, dude.
Then, of course, we've also commodified water, and you can now speculate on water futures on the stock market.
Nice.
But we commodify everything, so this should come as no surprise. Though it does seem deeply dystopian to have wealthy people betting on drought severity while their fellow human beings suffer. If you put that in a movie script, the producers would say it's too on the nose. Reserves are drying.
They would probably just say, sounds like a boring movie. Let's make another Spider-Man. I don't think they would be like, this is too on the nose. I think they would be like, who the is going to watch a movie like that?
The water wars are coming. They won't be advertised as such, but watch where imperialist militaries end up. It's only a matter of time.
I wonder how to fact check this.
If you'd like...
He seems a little conspiratorial for me. I'm sure there's a lot of truth in some of this. I mean, the stats bear it out that water is becoming more precious resource. What I'd love to know is what's a country that would be at risk of being invaded for its water? And then if the next 5 years we start to see conflicts in and around that country, we'll know. We don't have to drink water. I drink other stuff all the time. Zoa, let's just drink energy drinks. Or we have all this oil. Let's learn to drink oil. What if we got a gigantic, like, football field sized amount of G Fuel and dumped it in the ocean so it tastes good? Because the reason we don't drink salt water is because it tastes bad. Someone said no, because salt water will kill us. No, you're telling me the G Fuel strat wouldn't work? Bro, I put salt on my food. I can drink salt water, you dumbass. Obvious.